Kittenators, I don't want to have to tell you what I know you already know, but I am giving Girl Next Door. I am. And you can argue, no, listen, you can argue with it all you want, but it comes a point. It comes a point where you're just going to have to accept defeat and admit that KC, Kit Costello, is giving Girl Next Door. And now I hear you crying, I hear you screaming, bitch. I'm literally in my next door neighbor's garden giving Girl Next Door. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm in my, how you say it, woolen v-neck jumper, baggy, off the shoulder, what can I do, bra strap showing, stop. I have my blue denim jeans on, low rise, classic. I have my black socks on, and I also have slides on. And that's so Girl Next Door, because literally, like, I'm just popping out to the shops. Let me put my slides on. I'm just so Girl Next Door. Also, I am outside, so if you can hear the winding, I do apologize, but also I want you to know that that's the vibe. That's the je ne sais pas. That's the je ne sais pas of this season. And you should have known that when I did the key art photo shoot, which was half inside, half outside. Baby, it was an Easter egg. Oh no, I find it funny. You guys love when Taylor Swift does an Easter egg, but as soon as Kit Costello does one, it's all screaming and crying. I find it funny. Kit Costello, who's that? Host of Self-Interrupted, the podcast you're listening to right now. And yes, I am the host, Kit Costello. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're talking about how you're going to have the best summer of your life. I'm going to go into points and topics that maybe you haven't heard before. I'm going to go into the casual, easy ones that you've heard before, and we're going to touch on them slightly. But I want to talk about things that, like, actually this summer, I want to tap into. One of the topics being a bitch. Like, I want to be a bit more of a bitch. And I'll elaborate. Because I know what you're thinking, Kit, that's crazy. But you'll understand by the end of this episode why I think being a bitch is in this summer. But first, before we get into the topic of the week, let's get into the catch-up of the week. It's just so nice here. Like, I kind of wish that there was a way of me having all of you guys over to the farm. You know how people are going like, oh, let's go on a podcast tour. Let's sell out theatres. No, like, wait, let me sell out the farm. You know, that would be fun. That would be sweet. Would you guys come to a farm show? Self-Interrupted X the farm. X the family farm. Bless my family, they have no clue what I do. Like, they try their best. If one of our other family members is like, oh, so what's Kit up to? What's she doing? They're like, oh, I guess she models. And then they're like, oh, is that it? And then they're like, oh, no, she has a podcast as well. What's the podcast about? Some of my family members listen to this podcast. If you are listening right now, good for you. Because I know you know nothing. You know nothing about what I'm talking about. Like, you could listen to me for the whole 80 hours of archival episodes that I have, and you would still have no idea. Bless your hearts. Different worlds, but they support me no less. And let's celebrate that. Also, let's celebrate the podcast charting. Oh, right. Podcast charted in the UK. In the UK. No, guys, it's actually so serious because I don't think you understand. The podcast hasn't charted in the UK since season 2. Like, we're doing something right. We being me and you. Like, this is a relationship. This is a maybe parasocial, but there's something there. But genuinely, thank you so much. I put so much effort into this podcast, and I feel like we've entered a new plane. By that, I mean like a new dimension with the podcast. I'm trying to use bigger words. Since the podcast is getting more popular, I'm trying to use big words to impress people, you know? Anyway, I do feel like we've entered like a rhythm, and we found, you know what it is? I think I really have let go of expectation of self, and I've just allowed things to be what they're going to be. I used to be so like uptight about how I appeared on camera and how the audio sounded. And for a while, this season, I found it really hard to like get into it because I didn't have like a consistent place to film. But because I haven't had a consistent place to film, I found all these cute little locations where I can record the podcast. And I think that's what's making this season fun and interesting, especially if you're a video episode watcher. You're able to kind of join me finding a place to film every week, and I think that's really fun. But yes, the podcast charted. It means so much to me. Your support, sharing the podcast. Like, I genuinely don't think you know how much it helps. Like, as an indie small podcast, it really helps you sharing the podcast, liking the stories, liking the posts, sharing the reels. It genuinely helps out so much. So thank you so much for doing that. Also, over on TikTok, I mean, the girls on TikTok are kind of eating the podcast up, and thank God, it's about time. Finally, the queens are noticing that we are the good podcast, and you can say that you were there from the beginning, and I think that's special. But I found out the podcast was charting while I was editing an episode of the podcast in the cafe. I had just had laser hair removal. It was one of the hottest days of the year, 34 degrees. Ooh, let's go get laser. Don't do that, by the way. Full body laser hair removal. And actually, I do recommend because let me finish my sentence. I do recommend because in the laser salon they have the aircon on. Then I went to the cafe, aircon was on. I was in the cafe for like 6 hours editing. I come out of the cafe, it's a sexy little like 24 degree. Did you guys just hear those ravens? Right, right. I come out of the cafe, it's a sexy little 24 degrees. And everyone's been like, "Oh my god, it's so hot." I had nothing to complain about, babe. I was working away. I was working away and get my body lasered. Lasered. And I had a great time. I had my Americano. I had my little sweet treat. My sweet treat being a smoothie, which, you know what? Smoothies are actually really underrated. If you get a good smoothie, everyone's clapping. You know, if it's a bad smoothie and I've paid a lot of money for it, I'm pissed off. I am not a queen that goes to Joe and the Juice. Oh, sorry, Joe and the Juice, for the hits. But I have to be real. I went to Joe and Juice once when I started modeling because I thought it was like the quirky thing for me to do. Like, oh my god, she's such a mod. Like, oh my god, like, oh my god, oh my god, can I speak? Like, oh my god, she is such a model. Let her go to Joe and the Juice and buy an £8 smoothie. At the time it was £8. I'm sure now it's like 10. And I was drinking it and I was just like, oh baby, this isn't the give. Like, it wasn't. I was drinking and I was like, I feel like I should have to enjoy this. Also, at the time when I was drinking that, I was talking to a guy and that guy ended up being incredibly traumatic in my life. That's so dramatic. He was just, no, it was traumatic. Actually, I've talked about it on the podcast before. 24-Hour Boyfriend. It's an episode from season 1. Go and listen to that episode if you want the full tea. So I was in the cafe and I had my smoothie, I had my Americano. I was definitely hunched over that desk, grinding my teeth, getting this episode out. But, ooh, you know what's always going to piss me off in a public space? I'm talking public transport. I'm talking a cafe. I'm talking a cinema. Always is going to piss me off. Oh, let me go ahead and listen to a video out loud. Let me go ahead and listen to my crappy music out loud. Let me go ahead and call my friend on speakerphone. You bitches are going to jail. What are you doing? Just put headphones in. Take your phone off of speaker. Or let me go and call my friend who has the most annoying, grating voice, who sounds like she's underwater. Let me go and call her on the train. Why? And then when they go under a bridge, oh my god, I'm losing signal. Yeah, duh, bitch. You're under a bridge. Can you hear me? No, she can't hear you, bitch. You've lost signal. What part of that don't you understand? Ooh, it's gonna get me every time. Someone that does calm my nerves after a loud phone call on the train is Sarah. Now, I met Sarah at a cafe this week and we had a little catch up. Now, Sarah is a new addition to the KCCU friendship circle, okay? So Sarah and I met around about this time last year for a photo shoot. We did a photo shoot for Rimmel, but the only photos that came out were me looking clapped. Oh, right. So me and Sarah definitely had a little bonding moment and experience on that shoot. And we went to a cafe in Angel in London and it was gorgeous. Well, actually, I will say, and Sarah, I'm sure you can back me on this, it was nice. The coffee was good and I can always appreciate a cafe that has good coffee. But the sweet treats that we got, we both picked one and then we shared. Love that. Love sharing. Love sharing with a friend. A little sweet treat. Sarah picked a slice of carrot cake and I picked, you guys are going to roll your eyes and probably start gagging in a bad way, like you're about to throw up, a chocolate and custard muffin. Now, in my head, it sounded nice. Actually, no. In front of me, it looked nice. And I was like, well, let me tap in. Got the bits. We sat outside. Gorgeous. We split the cake in half. Tell me why the custard was giving like, ooh, petroleum jelly, giving Vaseline. I said, wait a minute, this isn't custard in my books. It looked like gelatin. And I was like, oh. And we both, you know, we got through it. We got through those sweet treats. And after you eat a sweet treat, you should never have to say, oh, I got through that. But alas, we got through the sweet treats. And then we kind of finished up our sweet treats. We finished up our coffees and we were like, okay, so what now? And Sarah was like, well, let's go get drinks. Alcoholic drinks. Right. So we went to a little, not the wind picking up. Oh my God, wait a minute. So we went to a pub by the canal in Angel and it was really, really lovely. We got a glass of wine each and then 2 beers. And we also got chips. Now these chips, guys, they were on a different level. I was expecting pub chips. I'm talking just like your classic anemic looking chips that had been fried for like maybe 2.5 minutes. These chips were something to talk about. They were something to write home about. They were, I would say, ooh, I don't even know what spices were on them, but it was special. I will say, oh my God, guys, at this certain pub, there's security outside because there's like outside seating. I don't know why there's security. But it's all these guys that like continuously walk up and down the strip. And I say, bitch, what do you think we're going to do? what do you think is going to go on here? I don't know what you're planning, because it seems like you're projecting your insecurities onto me, and it was pissing me off. But then also, speaking about men that stare at you for too long, there was this man. I would say he was a hot, sexy man. He sure was. And I'll say it again, he was a hot, sexy man. And I could tell that he liked me. I could tell that he was looking at me. Because when he was looking for a seat, he came all the way over to our seat to look at the one table that was free. Actually, no, it wasn't the one table. Every table was free, and he came over to our table, and then he walked away. And I was like, what the hell was that about? Anyway, so he was sitting like in front of us, and he kept looking at me. And I was like, come and say hi. What happened to saying hi? What happened to saying hello? If you're going to constantly want to catch my eye, come and say hi to me. Anyway, it's about 40 minutes later, and finally, these two boys in front of us like get up and they start walking away. I'm not kidding. For like 50 meters, this man was looking at me, smiling, looking at me like up and down. I was like, say something. I kept looking down, looking away because I'm really bad with eye contact, famously. But this man just kept looking. I was like expecting him to come up behind me and be like, what's your number? What's your name? But nothing of the sort. He just looks at me. And I'm like, what are you doing? For your own ego's sake, bitch? Come say hi. Oh. Some men just have the nerve. Some men just have a nerve. I think they just do it for their own like delusions. Do you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you just, after eyeing me up for 40 minutes, surely you would be like, hey, what's your give? But instead it's just like, oh, let me walk past this diva and not say anything. Freak. He doesn't ask me out on a date, automatically a freak. I'm kidding. Okay, next day, Hanifa came to the farm. And we did have a massive queen out because we sat by the lake. Now, the lake is a place where I will introduce you guys to. I will record an episode of the podcast there at some point, just not right now. It's a little bit too windy. Saying that, I literally am recording surrounded by trees because the lake, it's beautiful. And it's surrounded by... Maybe we'll record the finale there. The finale of this season will be recorded at the lake. Okay? Yeah, sure. Anyway, we got some snacks from Tesco. I went for some melon and some white chocolate buttons. And also, I went for a Ribena. Hanifa went for some lentil chips and some hummus. Okay? And then we sat by the lake and we just had a queen out. We did. It was a great time. And then I drove Hanifa around the farm, which is always fun. I don't have a driver's license, but I can legally drive on the farm because it's, private property, babe. So I was driving along the farm and I did get to a point where I was like, oh, am I on a road right now? And then I started getting a bit scared because they're basically like on the back end of the farm. It gets a bit muddy as to whether this is a road or this is like a path, because there are cars going up and down it. But I don't know if this is a road. All points are leading to it being a road and it being illegal for me to drive on. But that stays between us, That stays in the KCCU, not the real world, Queen, because I don't want to get arrested right now. So there was a point where Hanifa and I were driving, or I was driving Hanifa, and I had to kind of stay composed while thinking, if the police caught me right now, I'd be in jail. Right. But we drove up to a field. We hit park. I love the way that I'm saying we, as if Hanifa was driving with me. Like, no, it was just me. Hit park, and then I did ask Hanifa I asked her a pretty grounding question. I said, if you could have one meal, I'm talking starters, mains, dessert, what would it be and why? Hanifa gave a great answer. Then it came to me, and I didn't understand the pressure that I put Hanifa under for such a important question. Food is so important to me, guys. I'm gonna be real. So answering this question, it had to be right. Now, I think in this scenario, it was like death row meal. What would you eat? Last meal before death row. And I'm all about energy. I don't want to be that bitch that's all woo-woo. But I don't want to go with bad energy surrounding me. That bad energy being what? Meat. Yeah, I don't want to be eating meat. I don't want to be going away feeling like, ooh, yucky. I don't want to go away thinking like, oh, I've just eaten dairy. My skin's going to break out post-death. That's not the give. I believe, okay, let me remember. My starter was, oh goodness, what was my starter? I know that my main was a salad. And I know that you bitches are rolling your damn eyes. I know you are. I know you're thinking, Kit, last meal on earth, you're choosing a salad. Well, yes, because no, I'm talking like a dense salad. I'm talking roasted veggies. I'm talking homemade hummus. I'm talking all the yummy stuff into a salad, baby. That's what I want to go thinking about. And then the dessert was the dessert that I had while I was in Paris with Moya at the Gracie Abrams concert in the VIP box. I don't know what it was called. I know that it's a French dessert. It's a delicacy over there. It's a chocolate chip base with custard, then whipped cream, and then choux pastry dipped in caramel. Like, oh my God. You know what? I'd rather have that dessert for starter, main, and dessert because it was a bit special. I can't remember what my starter was though. I think I might have said I might have a curry as a starter because I really wanted it as a main as well. So I was like, what if I just have a little curry as my starter? Because I love curry. Anyway, after seeing Hanifa, I then went to London. I went to London to watch Evita, which has Rachel Zegler playing Evita. Okay, wait. I know what you guys are thinking. Kit, you went to see, oh my God, that's so exclusive. Like, you went to see Evita, like, in the theater. No, I watched her from the balcony. There's this gag that Rachel does, my queen, that's my friend, Rachel. There's this gag that Rachel does where she comes out on the balcony and she sings, "Don't Cry For Me, Argentina." Right. And it was you know what? It was amazing. And I never doubted my sister. The only thing that I did doubt were the crowds. Ooh, there was more people than I thought would be there. It was so bizarre to just be in the center of London where everyone's just wearing, just like casual London wear. And then Rachel Zegler was up there in a platinum blonde wig in a gorgeous dress and gowns and then just singing. I was like, wow, good for this queen. Like, she's really stealing the show in Oxford Circus. Like, that's special. But then after seeing Rachel, I then walked around Soho for a bit. I went to a pub. There was this absolute queen in the pub who literally, as I sat down with my Guinness, classic KC movements, as I sat down, she was like, "Your hair," and grabbed my hand. She said, "Your hair looks so gorgeous. It looks so healthy," hyping me up, gassing me up. And it's exactly what I needed that day. So I appreciate that queen that was in the pub. After going to the pub, I then just walked around Soho and then I got the train home. On the train home, there were these boys and I was a bit scared of these boys, but we absolutely queened out on the train together. I was feeling a bit crap on my way home. I was sitting by myself and these boys who were like maybe just a bit younger than me, but they were like artsy boys that looked like they listened to like maybe a little bit of death metal, maybe just a little. So I was like, a bit wary to approach, but I feel like I could queen out with them kind of vibes. And they were sitting in one of those 4-seater spaces in the train, and I was sitting in the one opposite them, a 4-seater. They were maybe a bit tipsy, a little bit cheeky, and they were getting everyone involved with their banter in the carriage. Mind you, it was like 10:30 at night. So everyone's feeling a bit like, "Oh, guys, shut up." But then they were a bit of a giggle, they were a bit of a laugh, and I was laughing with them. And each of them, bless their hearts, they got off at different stations. Each station they got off at, they were like, "Thank you for a lovely time, by the way." I was like, you were sweet. Don't be silly. There are good people in the world. Anyway, went to the pub. Yes, I did. Soho sleigh vibes. I did. Oh, my parents are currently away. My parents are currently away. They're not on the farm right now. So I'm having to babysit. I say babysit. I'm having to look after all the pets. My pets, they all seem to have some kind of condition. Like, they really do. All of those divas have to take some kind of medicine to stay alive. My cat has heart failure, that queen. Have to shove a tablet down her throat and a liquid tablet down her throat. A syringe of liquid tablet. Every day, 3 times a day. My dog has to take 3 tablets a day. But Humphrey's a little, bless his heart. He doesn't really understand. Like, I don't have to put them down his throat. I can just put them in his food and he will just like, he's none the wiser. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, my mum found a bird on the farm. That is a tame bird that must have just like got loose by someone else. And we now have that bird. So guess what I'm looking after? A bird and the fish. So I am running a zoo right now. I'm running a zoo and I'm having fun with it. No, I am. Honestly, it's actually quite nice because by like 9 a.m., I feel so accomplished because I've looked after all the pets. I'm like, wait, this is new for me. Feeling this accomplished by 9 a.m. I'm like, wait, I should just go back to bed. Ridiculous. Okay, up next, random man in Instagram DMs. I wake up, go on Instagram, classic KC movements. My last Instagram story was me promoting the podcast. I get a DM in my request folder and it's a man popping up with an emoji. Now, normally, if I get this kind of DM, I ignore. Especially if it's from a man, I'm like, oh no, this man was sexy and fine. So I said, wait, let me tap in a little bit. So I hit the follow button. Yes, I did. I hit the request button and I don't want to hear it. I hit the request button. I follow him and he DMs me. And he basically says like, hey, I found you on TikTok. I thought you were cute. I wanted to DM you. And I was like, well, that works for me. You are cute as well. So we kind of start talking and he starts sending me photos just of his, his face, which is really interesting to me sometimes. Like, I don't need to see it. And I don't want to I don't want to sound like a bitch, okay? I don't need, like, the tap to view photo of you at work. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, me at my desk. I don't care. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a bitch because sometimes, like, when I'm deeper into a talking stage with someone, I really love that. Like, I love being updated. But if I don't know you, if we've, like, exchanged a couple of texts and you're like, ugh, me working at the desk. Okay, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And when he sent that, me working at the desk, I was like, oh, cool. And then he was like, are you not going to send one back then? I was like, a picture of me working at my desk, bitch? Do you want that? He was like, yeah. So I just took a photo of me with a coffee mug. And he was like, oh, you look so sexy. And I was like, oh, you're one of them. You're one of them. Oh, right. You're one of them. One of them being, I could take a photo of anything, anywhere. And he'd be like, oh, you're so sexy. He just wants me to take my clothes off on main. He does, guys. And I know that he wanted that because after about a couple hours of talking, like on and off, I'm talking on and off, like maybe every 20 minutes I was replying, he then sent a photo of him like just worked out. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Of course he was topless. And I was just like, what are we doing? Like, stop. I don't care that you just worked out. Why do you think I care? I don't need to see your six pack. I'm sorry, maybe I'm just like a bad mood with men at the moment. I just, like, no qualms. And it was actually really funny because before he sent that photo, I had sent him another photo and he was like, oh, you look so sexy. You look so gorgeous. You're so sexy. And I just went, yeah, I know. And then he went, you know, question mark. And I was like, yeah, with an X. Love. Confuse men with your confidence. Because why do you think that you're my savior? Oh, you're the first person to call me sexy. I've told you this before, guys. Never act like a man. No, never act like a guy is the first person to call you sexy. Like, yeah, people have called me sexy before, bitch. What do you think this is? Thank you. And I want you guys to take this energy into the summer with you because you deserve to be unabashedly confident in yourself. I don't go around saying that I'm sexy by any means. You guys know I'm like the least confident person. When I'm talking to a man, I have to let him know that I have confidence. Otherwise, men will take advantage. Yeah. Men take advantage of people that act like they don't have confidence. So you've got to act straight away like you have the confidence. But yeah, so he sent a photo post-workout and it's of his abs. And I was like, okay. And I just didn't reply to it. And then I went to reply to it later in the day and he had blocked me. I went to reply and I was like, oh, look good. And then I went to click on his profile and it was like, user not found. And I was like, oh, great. So you couldn't wait 6 hours for me to reply to your message. Like, I thought this was endgame. Mind you, I'm kidding. Mind you, he lived in Belgium. And he was like, wait, are you going to invite me over to your house? From Belgium, bitch? Like, what is this cross-country tour to go on a date? Oh, do you want to come to Belgium? No. I don't want to come to Belgium. Oh, people make me giggle. Some people make me giggle. Like, I don't know what he thought he was getting. I know what he thought he was getting. He thought he was getting nudes. And it was not that give. That is not my give. Anyway, that's all that's been going on this week. Nothing too crazy. I've seen my friends, and that's what's important. But let's get into talking about how to make this summer memorable and how to put yourself first this summer. I've had to change my seating position because this chair is incredibly uncomfortable. I'm currently sitting on a piece of garden furniture which is made out of metal. And my previous seating position was me one knee bent, so that you could see my denim jeans. And then I had a little thought to myself. I said, oh, Kit, baby, the video episode is in black and white. Queen, they can't see the blue. They can't see the blue contrasting the red door frame. So, baby, get as comfortable as you can because it's always going to be a bit uncomfortable because you're in a metal chair, right? Why? Oh, quick question. Why are the chairs made out of metal? Right. The outdoor garden furniture chairs, why metal? I understand it's probably best for the longevity of them, but also like, oh, what happened to comfort, guys? And I know that before you start screaming, Kit, there are comfortable options. Yeah, but I'm talking about this chair that I'm on right now. Yeah. Okay, but other than an uncomfortable chair, let's get into how to make this a memorable summer. One that you look back on with fondness and one that will change you and change your life. Because I think it's really important to go through seasons thinking about the one that's coming up. Like, these points that I'm going to give to you are points that you can nurture and learn during the summer, but you can take through to autumn/fall and then to winter. And then when the next summer comes around, you can be like, wait, I can build even more on the points that Kit made because I did this last summer. My hair just went straight into my mouth. Okay, so I want to get the basics out of the way first because when I did this episode, I was like, okay, I know that I need to go through these, but I don't want to harp on them for too long. The basics are to journal, to eat well, to see friends, to kiss people, and just to love. First one being journal. You guys know I don't want to harp on too long because I don't want to be that diva that's constantly saying journaling will change your life, but it will. And the reason I harp on about it so much is because I would hear people talk about journaling and I was never able to get into it. And I want you to know that I was not one of those queens. I was not one of the queens that could journal. I couldn't find the time for it for some reason. I was unemployed. I had the time to journal, but for some reason, I didn't have the patience, I guess, to sit down with my thoughts and to put them onto paper. After doing it, I think for a couple of weeks, I would just do 3 pages of an A5 journal. I'd do 3 pages in the morning with a coffee, and I got into the routine of it. And now my journal genuinely, here's the stuff that I'm going through before anyone. Like that queen I bring everywhere with me. Like I'm journaling on the train, I'm journaling in my studio, I'm journaling in the office, I'm journaling in the car. Like I absolutely love to journal just because it feels so therapeutic. And genuinely, once you get into the habit of journaling, it does change your life. And it sounds really dramatic, but it does. You know, it allows you to organize your thoughts and get your thoughts out. And there's a lot of times where like I'll journal about something that I'm going through and I'll be like, okay, that's good. I feel better now. An hour later, there'll be this like feeling in me. And it's like, okay, well, no, I need to get this out even more. And it's almost like an unraveling of self onto pages. So I want you to know that if you are not a journaling diva and if you're someone that's just like, I feel like I can't do this and I feel like I don't have the time or the patience to do it, you do. You're just choosing not to. And I want you to know that I'm being harsh with you right now because I went through that too. I went through the period of just being like, oh, it's not for me. It is. What helped me was like investing into a nice little journal. I have the Moleskine expanded black journal. And I have a star sticker on the front of mine, so it looks cute. And I think that's important. And I also use Muji pens. And again, I think having a good pen is important when you're journaling. I would recommend journaling this summer, even if you just do it for the summer. Every day this summer, just make sure to journal, and that will follow you through to autumn. And journaling in the autumn, are you crazy? It's such like a classic vibe. Sorry, there's a really loud motorbike going past and it's pissing me off. Can you tell that my train of thought was like on another track? Like I was just thinking about, because I know it's a man on a motorbike making too much noise going through the village, pissing me off. Like, why can I still hear it? I literally just heard its journey. Anyway, up next is eating well. Eating well is so important. Going out with your friends and eating, bitch. I mean it. Going and getting that sweet treat. Eating foods that make you feel good, whatever that food is for you. I'm not trying to tell you what to eat, queen. What I'm saying is I want you to eat the foods that make you sit back and think, that was a really lovely meal. Whether that, for me, is eating whole foods, eating really lovely tomatoes with, I don't know, burrata, or just lovely roasted veg, salads. I love eating those kind of foods, and in the summertime it's beautiful. But on top of that, I love eating a sweet treat. I love having dark chocolate. I love having a muffin, a cookie with my coffee. Like, it's genuinely where I get a lot of pleasure from. I love food, and I think eating well and treating yourself to lovely food, specifically with your friends, is so important to do in the summertime, because it's that community that you build and that deeper understanding of your friends, because they'll be like, oh, this is my favorite food, and you can be like, this is my favorite food, and you know something more about each other. And you learn that when? In the summer. Right. Speaking of friends, up next is seeing friends. You have to see your friends. Get out there. You guys know that I'm a hermit a lot of the time. I can be quite isolated. I never come away from seeing my friends thinking, ugh, I wish I didn't go to that. I always come away from seeing my friends thinking, that was a queen out, we need to do that again. And those moments, like, there are so many moments that I think of. Like, there was a moment last summer where me and my friends had just been to the pub and we were walking through London at like 10:30 at night, and everyone was a little bit tipsy, and it was just such a lovely vibe. and I was meeting new people. I love meeting new people. Making new friends in the summertime is so much fun. Going to pubs with your friends, just that kind of like background chatter of all these other little friend groups, and giving people the flirty eyes at the pub, and your friends kind of egging you on to go and talk to that person. Like, it's so much fun to just like see your friends and make plans with your friends, because what you learn in your 20s is that everyone's so busy. So making sure that you have those plans, and I'll get onto that in a second, is one of my main points, but making sure you make plans to see your friends and you follow through with them. It's so important. My next point is to kiss people. Oh, okay. So I think kissing people is very sweet and very nice, and I really like kissing people. I think it's a lot of fun. There's that feeling in your heart that like flutters before you kiss someone. There's the look that someone gives you. Okay, there's definitely a look that someone gives you before they kiss you, and it can get there's like a fine line. There's a fine line, specifically with men, when they're about to kiss you. It's like, oh, you didn't have to give me that look. You didn't have to give me the classic, like the up, down, and then the stare, and then the open mouth and the closed eyes. Like, stop. Ooh, 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 retreat. My whole body's like, ooh, retreat. But then sometimes there's that like sexy look where you just know that they want you and you want them. Hot as hell. Kiss people this summer. Kiss people. Go on dates. Oh my God. Like, why not? And I'll get onto that in a second as well. But kiss people. My next point is just to love. Love whoever you want to love, whether that's friends, family, romantic interests. Go and love them unabashedly. I don't actually know what that means, unabashedly, but I mean it. I mean it. I don't even know what it means, and I mean it. That's how you know I mean it. Go out and like love your friends and tell them that you love them. And I just think it's so important, because I'm watching Sex and the City. You guys know I am. I'm sure you're tired of me talking about this, but it's like we just get to share these moments in our lives, and in the summer as well, where it's lovely weather and you get to be with your friends and you get to say, I love you. And you get to like show your love and your affection with your friends. And I think it's just so important to go out there and just to be kind of free with it. Because I think sometimes with me, specifically with love, and like, this is more romantic, but in any kind of way, I do get kind of scared to kind of put it out there and to love, because there have been times in the past where I've felt let down, or if I've let my guard down, I've felt hurt. If someone doesn't feel the same way, babe, just go out and love. Just go out and do it. And if you do get hurt, you get hurt. And I know that's maybe not the best advice, but at least you had the confidence and the you had it in you to go out there and love. Holding yourself back from the idea of loving, I guess this is more romantic, but like holding yourself back from that just in fear of getting hurt is doing yourself such a disservice. Like, specifically in the summer, babe, like go out and have that summer fling. You don't have to be in love with them, but you can pretend, damn. And if you do start falling in love, let it happen. Don't be so scared of it, There's something on social media where it's like, oh, don't fall in love too quickly. Don't do this, don't do that. Like, if it happens naturally, baby, just go ahead and do it. It's the summertime, for God's sake. Allow yourself to be in love. And then when I bring it back to those friends, that family, be in love with your friends. Like, tell them that you love them and really let them know how much you appreciate them this summer. Because your friends are so important to you. I've learned that recently. Or not recent. I've learned that my friends are important, and I've learned that recently. Literally yesterday. Yesterday was the first day that I realized, oh, my friends are important. I've learned more than ever, my friends are the most important group of people in my life. Genuinely. The stuff that I've been going through recently, I've had my friends there to lean on, and they've been there for me. You just can't replace that, I think it's so important to cherish that and cherish your friendships and really nurture them and allow them to evolve this summertime. Get to a place where you haven't been with your friends before. It's so important. But those are the basics out of the way. Now let's get into my points that I think are going to change your summer, because they're what I would want to hear and what I actually need to hear. This summer, I want you to know that you can never waste your energy and you can never waste your time. Anything that you do this summer is for a purpose and is for a reason. I'll come back to the time part in a second, but the energy thing. I get really scared if I go on dates with people, if I'm trying to make new friends and I put a lot of my energy into those people. I get scared that what if it doesn't work out? What if I just wasted all of my energy, all of my time all of my trust and I'd put it into someone that didn't deserve it. At that time, I believed that they did. It's not a waste of my energy to have hope in someone. It's not a waste of my energy to try my best to create a new relationship with someone. And I'll tell you why. For example, if it's romantic, if you're going on dates with people and you're seeing one person in particular and now you're scared, it's like, oh, I'm putting all my energy into this one person. What if it's a waste? Even if it goes tits up and you never speak to that person again, it's not a waste of energy because you now know that that energy is going to come back at some point. And when you retrieve that energy back, you are not going to put it into people that have the same ideals as the person that you last put it into romantically, for example. I used to get really scared about that with dating. It's like, I don't want to give too much of myself away. It's like, well, what do you have to lose, really? If you're going on dates with people, you want them to understand who you are. And who I am is someone that gives a lot of my energy to people. I'm someone that loves a lot. I'm someone that cares a lot. I'm someone that likes to give my all to my friends, to my family, to romantic interests. And if someone can't take that, then they're not the person for you. That's what I mean when I say, like, don't feel like you're wasting your energy, because I feel like sometimes we can almost be a bit reserved as who we are as people to try and be palatable for certain people. If people aren't showing that they respect you or they respect the version of you that is all of that energy, then you will know that and you will know to put that energy into other people. And you really can't worry that, oh, if I'm making this new friend, like, what if I'm putting all my energy, all my time into them? Like, obviously don't put all your time into someone new in the summer, because I think it's really important, like I said, to cherish the friendships that you have and your family. But if there's like a friend that you're trying to make, it's really lovely to put that energy into them. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I think letting go of the idea of what you can be is so important at the beginning of building relationships. And it's something that I could have heard a couple of months ago, you know. In romantic situations, I think it's really important to let go of the idea of what can be and let in the idea of what is. What is it right now? You don't have to give all your energy, but if you want to, that's totally fine. And if that's what you naturally do, again, that's totally fine because that's you. And if it all goes, like I said, tits up and it feels like that energy has been sucked from you, you will get that energy back. And if anything, you genuinely will level up. You will learn that, oh, that's not the person for me, whether it's platonic or romantic. That's not the person for me. I've learned that. Let me level up now to the next cream of the crop. You start making new friends that are your vibe. And I have felt that personally recently. I've been making new friends recently and they really feel like it feels like they're on my wavelength. And I think that's because before I have let my energy go to people that maybe didn't deserve it. And I've now recently felt that energy come back into me. And I know it sounds really woo-woo, but you know, there's been times where you've been, sitting in your room, you don't have the energy to go out. And maybe that's because you gave all your energy to someone and they let you down. And now you've been in your room for a bit and you've found it hard to trust other people. Once you start allowing the idea to come in that, oh, maybe I could start making friendships and romantic relationships in the future, that's your energy coming back around to you. And now at that point that you're in, when you're ready to give that energy out, you know that you're on a different field. You know that you are in a different level where you can give that energy out to people that really deserve it. And that's where I've been, and I've, created these friendships recently that mean so much to me because I genuinely feel seen by these people. And, that can't be replaced. And if I was hurt by the times that romantic relationships and platonic relationships kind of fell through in the past, I would be reserving all this energy for me. And I'd be thinking, no, I've got to keep this energy for myself because it's summer and I just want it. No, babe, give it out. It's always going to come back to you. And if it's a quote waste of energy, it's a quote waste of energy, but you've learned something from it. You're always going to learn something from every relationship that you go through. No relationship is a waste of time. And that's so important to know. If you go through a summer fling this summer and it doesn't work out, if you're going through a talking stage right now and it's not working out, that is never a waste of your time. It isn't, because you learn something from everything, So I want you to know that this summer, that you are never going to waste your energy on anyone. And I think that kind of allows you to breathe a bit, and it allows you to go out and meet people that maybe you weren't going to meet, because now you can go into it like, okay, well, this doesn't have to be everything. And even if I do lose a bit of my energy, I'm going to get it back and I can go and make a new friend in the future. And that's what's important. My next point is a little bit controversial. but I want you to stick with me. This summer, I want to practice being a bitch. Right, 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 right. In brackets, understanding what you want and your worth. I don't want to be a bitch. I want the wrong people that aren't for me to go around and be like, oh, Kit's a bit of a bitch. The reason why I say that is because those people that are wrong for me would have treated me in a bad way and I would have responded in a bad way. I'm sick of being a people pleaser to my own detriment. And this summer, I'm not doing that. If I'm on a photo shoot and I don't actually like the way I'm being treated, I'm going to let people know. Hey, I would love some food. I would love some water. And if I am the problem on set, I will be the problem on set. But if you then start telling people Kit was a problem on set, she was a bit of a bitch, and then someone asks, oh, why was Kit a bit of a bitch? And you say she wanted food, that person's going to be like, oh, well, Kit's not a bitch. Maybe you're the bitch. Wait a minute. You know, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that I want to go around and be rude to people by any means. I just want to stick up for myself when rude people are being rude to me. I don't want to have to always give people the benefit of the doubt, to be honest. Like, if you're being really rude to me, I don't want to have to think, oh, okay, well, maybe they're going through No. Maybe they're just being rude to you and you should take that for face value. You know, if someone's disrespecting you, whether you're dating someone, whether it's like an ex-friend or someone that's soon to be an ex-friend that's disrespecting you, you don't have to be the nicest version of yourself for them. Again, it's like understanding where to put your energy. And I think sometimes I do like put a lot of my energy into people that don't necessarily deserve it. Under this point, I've actually written down not actually being a bitch, but embodying someone who doesn't care about reaction and just does it. I really overthink everything, and I definitely overthink a lot of reactions that will come from what I say or what I do. And I think, you know, moving away from the idea of like being a bitch, because I don't think you should be a bitch at all. And I think you understand that. But I really struggle with the perception that people have of me. And I think me saying be a bitch this summer is me kind of leaning into the worst case scenario of what people could think of me. Like, the idea that people could go around and say, oh, Kit Costello's a bitch is a bit of a nightmare. But what if they did? I know that I'm not a bitch at heart, right? So if someone thinks that I am, they must have been incredibly rude to me to get that side of me, you know? Or they just don't know me at all. And I think the idea of reaction for me is something that I'm really trying to work on. And by that, I mean like reaction that people have of what I'm wearing, or the reaction of people when I don't agree with a point that they're making. It's things as simple as that some people would walk away from and think, oh, that was a bit, why didn't she agree with me? If I'm on a date and I disagree with what you're saying and you're going to walk away from that and be like, oh, she's a bitch, I'm going to let you think that. I'm not going to now make myself smaller and just agree with you for the sake of it, because I don't want to do that. That's not where I am in my life. And this summer, I really want to go into the summer thinking, if people think I'm a bitch for putting down who I am, they can think that. I know I'm not that. But if I'm being confident in who I am and they can't take it, they can't take it. I'm not saying I want you to go around and be a bitch. I just want you to go around and not think too much about what the people that aren't serving you will think about you. Because your friends know, your family know that you aren't a bitch. But if someone's being rude to you, I'm not going to just back down now. If someone's being weird on the train, which, by the way, on the tube the other day, someone took a photo of me. A man took a sneaky photo, quote unquote, sneaky photo. It was so bait that he was taking a photo of me and I didn't say anything. If that was happening now, I'd be a bitch. I'd be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you taking a photo of me? I'd embarrass him in front of everyone. And he would walk away from that situation and think, oh, what a bitch. I don't care. If you are being a bitch, I'm going to meet you at your level. And that's what I mean. And I hope that you can understand that, because I know it sounds a bit bizarre for me to say that, but you know where I'm coming from. My next point is to create plans and stick to them. Stick to them in all caps, by the way. Personal plans and plans with friends. And I have some ideas for you. Okay, so personal plans, movie night. I still think about the time in 2020 where I made myself a den in my bedroom and I watched First Wife's Club. I still think about that 5 years later. It was such a core memory to me that that little night where I took 2-3 hours out of my day and I made some lovely snacks. I had a lovely drink. I made a den and I watched First Wives Club. It was so special to me that I still remember that. During the summer, I think it's so lovely to just have a little movie night with your favorite snacks, just by yourself, watch a film that makes you ugly cry, watch a film that makes you ugly laugh, and just be there. And allow yourself to create a memory that you will think about in the future. So important. I do this all the time. Like during Christmas, funnily enough, I watched Squid Game on Boxing Day and I made a lovely broccoli and Stilton soup by myself. And then I just went upstairs and I watched all of Squid Game 2. And I still think about that. I love creating those little memories that you look back on and you just feel comfort. It's the idea of comfort, you know? So creating a cozy environment for yourself to watch a film, that's a good plan for the summer. Next one, weekend off of your phone. Get off your damn phone. For one weekend of the summer, just get off. Allow yourself the privilege of getting off of your phone and being tapped in to going on a walk, being present with your family, with your roommates, just being there, reading a book. I know it sounds, it makes me roll my eyes because you hear these tips on TikTok all the time, but the real gag is it works. You know, these are the things that actually make you feel present and it makes you feel like, oh my God, wait, I can like breathe. You know, there are times where I've been on my phone, even today, where I was just scrolling and I was like, I know I have things to do. Why am I on my phone right now? A weekend off of your phone literally will feel like a lifetime. In the best way. I remember I saw a TikTok and it was like, I came off my phone for the weekend and it felt like 2006. Because you go back to all of the things that maybe you did as a kid, whether that's painting, drawing, journaling, writing songs, playing guitar, going back to those things that make you actually feel happy. And I'm not saying you have to do this for the whole summer, just a little weekend. And maybe do it with your friends and then you can report back to each other and be like, oh my God, I did this over the weekend. It was so much fun. And then you can get inspiration, then maybe do it another weekend. Or better yet, you could do it with your friends. Spend the weekend at one of your houses and just queen out together for the weekend. Cook, bake, tell secrets that you haven't told before. I love asking my friends, what's a secret you haven't told me before? Love it. Because you learn more about each other and it just opens a whole new conversation. This summer's about making memories, you know? So get off your phone and actually make them. My next personal plan would be to explore your local city or village or town and go somewhere that you haven't been before. I'm talking like a cafe, a restaurant, with a friend, with a family member, with a lover. Go somewhere that you haven't been before. Maybe become a local at that cafe, like I have. Those queens love me. They don't even know my name, but they know my coffee order. Right, capitalism. But I tap in. And it's cute, you know, going to your local coffee shop and really putting the time in to give yourself the opportunity to just explore, like just exploring. If you live in London, there's so many places for you to go. And I think that's so much fun. Going out of your way to go somewhere that you haven't been before. I'm such a creature of habit that, like I said, I will just go to the same coffee shop over and over and over again. It's so nice to go somewhere that you haven't been and see new faces and meet new people. Onto friend plans. Okay, go to pubs that are lively. Ooh, yeah. You gotta go to it. If you want to experience a rom-com in real life, I don't know, that might be, I don't want to like feed you guys a lie, but I love going to a pub with my friends. Okay, wait. This is an idea with your friends. It's a day, okay? I want you guys to plan a day of being hot. A day of being hot. It's a night you go to the pub and your mission is to just feel sexy. To make each other feel sexy, to make each other feel hot. You go to the pub, you take hot photos of each other, you get a nice pint of beer or whatever drink that you want to drink, and you just gas each other up. You make each other feel proud to be each other's friends. Hashtag feel hot for the night. Feel hot for your whole life, of course, but there's something in feeling like the energy from your friends that they feel good and that you feel good and that you feel good together. And maybe you'll attract that energy towards you. And maybe you'll find a little love interest in the pub. Oh my God, hashtag romcom. Up next is involve your friends in your life that maybe is separate from them. For example, with me, it's the farm. I never invited my friends to the farm. And only recently my friends have started coming here. And the reason being is it feels so separate. The farm life is so separate to my life out in London. And mixing them at the beginning felt a bit uncomfortable because I was like, what if I bump into a family member that like maybe doesn't understand me, which then makes it awkward, with my friends. But pushing down that boundary and that barrier is so nice because it just allows your friend to get to know you better. And it can be something personal that you do in your life that maybe you've kept to yourself. Maybe you're an artist and you don't share your art with your friends. Allowing your friends to be involved in that process allows them to get to know you better. This summer is all about like just allowing yourself to be seen, whether that's platonically, romantically, or by your family. Just being seen is so lovely, and being seen by your friends is so much fun, and letting them in on what you do when they're not there is also fun. They get to know you a bit more. With your friend, oh guys, host dinner parties. You've got to host dinner parties or games nights. Oh my gosh. No, seriously. And if you guys host one, invite me. I'm dead serious. If you're in the London area, I'm serious, guys. If you're in the London area and you're having and you're hosting, shut up. If you're hosting a dinner party or a games night, invite Kit Costello because I will turn up. I will turn up. I sure as hell will. I love a dinner party. I love a games night. I think they're so special. It's so coming of age indie film. Oh my gosh. When the queens are smoking outside the window, when the queens are a little bit tipsy, when the queens are gossiping in the corner, when there's people making out in the corner. Oh my God. It's special. A house party even. Oh my God. House parties are so much fun. I say that. I don't think I've ever been to a house party. But maybe let's keep that between me and you because I want to give off the fantasy. Do I look like someone that could be at a house party right now? Wait. I could give house party. I feel like I could. I've been to a house party. Did you believe me? Also, last plan, park date with friends. Park date with friends is so much fun because going to a park maybe that you haven't been to, again, this is very London centric, but I haven't been to all the parks in London. There's quite a few, but going to a park that you haven't been to, exploring it, fun. Just fun. Bringing a snack, having a picnic. Ugh. Love it. And again, if it's a busy park with a lot of young people, making friends with those young people, the groups entwining, oh my God, it's special. That's what we should be doing this summer. Oh my God. Guys, can you tell that this is the summer where I just want to be making more friends, going on more dates and just seeing more people, just making relationships that you'll look back on and be like, oh my God, that was in the summer of 25. Like it was special. My second to last point is make yourself uncomfortable. I know this sounds contradictory to having the best summer of your damn life, but what you do not like to do, do it. For example, solo dates. I used to not like a solo date. I used to feel awkward. I used to feel embarrassed. If I was eating in a restaurant by myself, God, I queen out with a solo date now. I go to the cinema by myself. I never thought that was a big deal, to be fair. And then I started telling my friends like, oh, I go to the cinema by myself. And a couple of them were gagging. They said, oh, how'd you do that? No one cares. Go, no one cares. Again, going back to my point, act like a bitch. Act like a bitch. Act like that bitch. Go into the cinema and be like, yeah, I'm here by myself. Why wouldn't I be? I love being in the cinema by myself. The confidence that you have and the confidence that grows by doing the things that you don't necessarily like to do. And it comes with your work as well. Like modeling, I really struggle doing runway because I just don't think that I'm that great at doing runway. But when Fashion Week comes around again, I'm doing it next season. And I really want to push myself to do it and not flunk the castings like I've done in the past because I didn't want to get the job. I want to properly go for it and make myself uncomfortable so that I can make myself comfortable in the future. So you have solo dates, dates in general. I used to be so scared of going on dates. I love a date now. A free drink? Go, sign me up. Sitting in silence? Ooh, sitting in silence is a good one. Sitting in silence and just seeing what happens, seeing what comes to you. And I know you're thinking, Jesus, Kit, that's quite intense for the summer. Sometimes in the summer, you've just got to understand yourself a bit. You don't, but I feel like I just wanted to tie it into the summer, okay? But sitting in silence is actually really important because you can get so overwhelmed nowadays with everything that you're able to access on your phone, whether that's social media, text messages, music. So turning it off, sitting in silence, and just doing nothing. You don't even have to journal, you don't have to read a book. Just sitting in silence and meditating a little bit is actually really nice. And if it makes you uncomfortable, get comfortable with it. I think it's actually really important to just be one with yourself. I've written down here, do the things that make you uncomfortable because the realization that it's actually okay and the understanding that you feel comfortable makes you proud and you come out stronger and more evolved. True. True. And my last point is to take in good media, films, TV shows, and books. And of course, I have some recommendations for you, but I'm not going to be giving you the descriptions. So if you just like the title, you should go and check it out. Films: Hannah Montana the Movie, Wild Child, Devil Wears Prada. TV shows: Looking for Alaska, Sex and the City, Gilmore Girls. Books: They Both Die at the End, The Little Prince, and Transitional. Those are my recommendations for the summer, and those are my tips for the summer and how you can have the best summer, the most memorable summer, the most evolving summer. I just want you guys to have a summer where you feel confident, really, and I want you to feel like you're evolving, because I feel like the summer is a great time to just feel your most confident self, however that looks for you, and that's what I want my summer to be as well. So I hope that we can get through the summer, and then maybe in the autumn I can do a retrospective episode of my summer. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Self Interrupted. I hope you've enjoyed this topic. Let's get into the vinyl of the week and the recommendation of the week. The vinyl of the week this week is Radical Optimism by Dua Lipa. Really love this album for songs that make you feel good about yourself and make you feel worthy and make you feel like you are that bitch, because that's what I'm needing at the moment. I'm needing that understanding that I'm worthy and that I deserve people that treat me that way. Right. So Radical Optimism by Dua Lipa is the vinyl of the week. The recommendation of the week. The recommendation of the week is a Greek yogurt. A Greek yogurt is a bit sexy. Reason being, she can do anything. She's so versatile. You can add honey to her and she can be sweet. You can add savory things to her and she can be savory. You can add her on a dinner. You can have her for dessert. Like, it's special. And you guys should be tapping into Greek yogurt this summer. But that's the episode of the week. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please make sure to rate the episode on Spotify. Leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. It would really mean so much to me. You can watch full video episodes over on Self Interrupted's YouTube channel. You can follow me personally at kit.costello on Instagram and on TikTok. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and on TikTok at Self Interrupted Pod. But other than that, I'm sending you so much love. As always, Kit.